Hi, I'm Teresa Ard, Chief of Voluntary Service at VA Ileana Healthcare System. I'm nominating Joe Guggemos as our Vermilion County Youth Hero. Joe Guggemos was baptized as an infant at the VA chapel during regular services among his relatives and his family of veterans. Joe is dedicated to his veteran family. He has served since a young child. He eagerly rang the church bells at the age of 3. At the age of 6, he began preparing the altar for Mass. As soon as he was physically able, he began escorting veterans to and from church services. He discovered at a very young age what rich and full lives many of our veterans have lived. He also saw the loneliness of many veterans whose families had outlived them or could no longer come visit. Joe helped to fill the gap for these veterans. He enjoyed listening to their stories and assisting them. Joe and his family escorted veterans and visited every Sunday and on holidays. Joe learned of the Summer Youth Volunteer Program and anxiously waited for the first orientation. He was noticeably enthusiastic, telling the other students about his experiences on Sundays and how they enriched his life. He knew his way around the facility and described it as his other home. The class Joe attended was a fairly large class, and Joe quickly volunteered to lead a group of students to get their name badge. The student application form was sent home with Joe to have his mother sign, authorizing her permission for Joe to participate. Joe signed up to return the following week and visit with veterans in the Community Living Center. The volunteer office received a call the next day from Joe's mother indicating that Joe had misrepresented his age on the application form. Joe had just turned 13, and the minimum age to participate on a regular basis is 14. Joe nor his parents were aware of this regulation. However, Joe was informed during orientation, and his desire and enthusiasm was so great that he actually fibbed on the application. He was informed that in order to volunteer on a regular basis, he indeed must be 14. Sure enough, the moment Joe turned 14, he was back with his volunteer application signed and ready to serve. Joe lights up in the presence of our veterans, and they in turn light up. The charge nurse on the Community Living Center commented on how interactive Joe is with the veterans. She requested that Joe visit with our veterans on her ward whenever he came in to volunteer, as the veterans enjoyed the time he spends on her unit. Joe plays cards or checkers or just visits. He has an easy, calm personality that the veterans can relate to. Joe serves in any capacity requested to serve. What he enjoys the most is visiting with our veterans. He will go down to the Community Living Center or the greenhouse homes and just visit. He enjoys hearing the stories of our veterans, and they enjoy listening to him. On warm, sunny days, Joe joins veterans suffering from Alzheimer's out in our healing garden, where they sit and enjoy nature or a game of basketball or miniature golf, whatever interests the veteran. Joe accompanied recreation therapists on outings, helping with escorting. He also helped with cookouts by grilling and serving up plates to our veterans. He was never one to just sit back and relax. Whenever Joe is at the VA, he is busy helping staff and veterans. He helps clean up after activities, put away donations, help organizing shelves, whatever needs done. He consistently asks, "What can I do now?" While Joe's hours reflect 301, he has actually served hundreds more. The 300 only includes those hours accumulated since turning 14. Joe is sincere in helping others. When not at the VA, he volunteers as a cadet for the Volunteer Fire Department. While serving 300 hours at the VA this past year, he also contributed 5 to 10 hours a week for the Fire Department, for a total of 364 hours. Joe volunteers for Lynch Fire Department every Wednesday and every other Sunday, all the while maintaining good grades as a Westville High School student. He aspires to attend college to be a firefighter. Joe's willingness and enthusiasm to serve others sets him apart. He genuinely cares for our veterans. His enthusiasm to volunteer at the VA makes him an inspiration, and that's why I nominated him as our Vermilion County Youth Hero. He is certainly a hero serving our American heroes.
Well, Joe, now, that is an outstanding story for a young man. First of all, fibbing at 13?
It was good.
What do you get out of being around the veterans at the hospital?
I get their stories, and it's just a learning experience for me.
What message do you have for the young people about how they can be impactful in their community?
Just start volunteering, and just start. It's a learning experience for everyone.
Okay, we mentioned a little earlier we had bad weather on Tuesday night, which meant no school in Westville on Wednesday. Your classmates were probably, if they're like my kids when they were your age, well, I'm sleeping in. I'll get up about noon and do whatever I need to do. What did you do on your day off?
I did the same.
I heard that you had gone to the VA.
Yes, I did.
Later in the afternoon?
7:30.
Oh. That's it. He volunteered. That's the whole story. That's the reason I was doing that. So, Michelle? On behalf of our group and Jocko's, congratulations
Thank you.
on being a youth hero in Vermilion County.
Thank you.
My name is Laurel Den Hartog. I am a licensed child welfare worker and have a master's degree in women's psychology. I met Lori Acree when we were working together at Chris Senior Services in Danville a number of years ago, and I have nominated her as a Vermilion Hero. The reason I nominated Lori, in addition to the wonderful work that I have seen her do on an agency level, has to do with her work with children on the autism spectrum. Her own daughter, Ashley, has Asperger's syndrome, which is what used to be called high-functioning autism. And it is very, very difficult for both Ashley and Lori to navigate through this crazy world we live in. And Lori has taken it upon herself not only the responsibility of raising a child that has this disability, but she also reaches out to help other parents who have children who are suffering with disturbances on the autism spectrum. And it is her work with Puzzled Minds, which is the support group that she runs, that I am using as the basis for my nomination, because her outreach to other families has spared them so much of the pain that she and Ashley have had to go through. She brings in speakers, they have meetings monthly, and she does everything she can to try to help them help their children. And these children are so misunderstood, bullied, and blamed for so much that it is a wonderful, wonderful thing she is doing. It is formidable just to raise your own child with this problem, but to do so and also to help others to make their lives easier and their children's lives easier is nothing less than a Herculean task, which she has taken on out of the love that she feels in her heart for children. And it is on that basis that I am so glad to have nominated Lori as a Vermilion County Hero, and so glad that she has won this award. Thank you.
Lori, if you come forward. Congratulations. Lori, Puzzled Minds, how has that impacted the lives of families and children and parents?
Well, hopefully positively. I just, I know what it's like to go through it, and I was struggling and, just trying to figure everything out, and I thought, now that I'm doing this, maybe there's others in the same boat. And I started the group because I know what it's like to go through it alone, and I needed support, and I thought maybe others do too. So I started it, and people have been referred, and it's become a network, and we've become close friends.
What do you want the public to know about what you have to do with every day and what they might be able to do to help?
You know what? My child is here today, and I'm very proud of her. She's in 6th grade. I just want them to know that these children are very smart, and they might just think differently than we do. And everybody has their moments, and you just need to, encourage your children with acceptance and patience and love and understanding.
Well, thank you very much, and congratulations. Our community hero.
I am Jean Mulvaney, and I am nominating Mr. Reginald Vincent as a Vermilion County Hero for his dedication to the children of Garfield Elementary School as their daily crossing guard. Garfield is a neighborhood school where many of the children still walk to and from their homes to school every day. As I drive to work each day, I see Mr. Vincent faithfully watching out for the children and crossing them on a well-traveled Gilbert Street in front of the school. No matter the weather, he is there to care for the school children in his neighborhood. Mr. Vincent lives on Gilbert Street himself. As children are our most precious treasure, and in this day when we need every protective and safety feature in place for them in their daily lives, I see Mr. Vincent as a true Vermilion County hero. Parents, children, the school, and the community are blessed to have his selfless service. He is a daily reliable source of comfort for us all, and that is why Reginald Vincent is a Vermilion County hero.
Our education hero. Vincent, come forward. All right, now I was giving you a little brief about your clothes, but I mean, what would you rather be wearing? How long have you been the crossing guard?
5 years now.
Okay, what made you decide you wanted to be the crossing guard?
Well, my wife's family has 5 generations and went through Garfield School. So I just felt the kids need somebody to look up to, somebody to just say, hey, good morning to you, how you doing this morning and everything. And that means a lot to the kids and everything because kids have a lot of problems nowadays with parents and everything else. So I feel like if parents ain't got time for them, somebody else needs to have time for our children. And that's what I'm there for, just to make them do good, do what's right, and do the Garfield 3.
Now, you have, in some cases, 30 seconds with these kids every day. In some cases, it may be 3 minutes, depending on traffic or how fast Mrs. Mulvaney is buzzing through Gilbert Street. I imagine you've had some interesting conversations with some kids over the years.
Yes, we do have some conversations. I've got one young man that I really look at, and he comes to school with a frown on his face, but now he comes to school with a smile on his face. Because I said a smile means a whole lot, and it will take you a long ways. And from now on, every time I see him, he's got a smile on his face.
Reginald Vincent, our education hero. Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you very much for what you're doing for our kids.
Hi, my name is Kaylin Hoskins. I would like to nominate Frank Morse to be known as a military hero not only for our community but also our country. Frank enlisted in the Navy September 15, 1942 and served until November 2, 1945. He was aboard the ship USS Baxter during World War II. The ship was a troop transport in the Pacific Ocean. During his duty, he came in contact with malaria fever in Biak, New Guinea. Due to this, he is no longer able to give blood. After winning 4 battle stars, he finished his degree at Eastern Illinois University in education. He had a job as a history teacher of the elementary school in Oakland, Illinois, and later became principal. In 1954, he moved his family to the small town of Alvin, Illinois, where he was a teaching principal for 16 years until Alvin consolidated with Rossville. Frank then became the elementary principal of Rossville-Alvin. He was there for 14 more years when he retired. By this point, he and his wife moved to Rossville to continue life's journey. Frank has been an active member of the Rossville United Methodist Church since around 1954. He has also been an active member of the Rossville American Legion and the Gideons for about 20 years. Frank was also the township clerk from 1985 to 2005 and received a plaque of special recognition for 20 years of service. He has been a member of the Rossville Community Organization since 2000. During this time, Frank has helped the community in several different ways, such as helping the town decorating for holidays, judged a local Halloween contest, and has tutored children of all ages at the Rossville Grade School every morning for about 26 years. For his membership with the Gideons, Frank passed out testaments to children and to different hotels. Frank was also chaplain of the American Legion, where he was in charge of local military funerals. Frank is also treasurer of the Rossville Historical Society, where he keeps track of finances. He also served as a guide for the museum. Frank supports many organizations such as World Wildlife by giving donation. Frank has recently suffered from a stroke and was admitted to Hawthorne Inn of Danville for about 4 months, where he got enough therapy to come home. I personally sit with Frank throughout the week, and he is doing a great job and has more ambition than anyone I've ever met. I have known Frank for about 10 years and have always respected him for the hard work and dedication to our community. Frank actually taught my mother and grandfather all through school. My grandpa always said he never let anyone give up. My grandpa was the son of a farmer and some days thought he should skip school to go to work for his dad, but Frank, being the principal, would make it his personal responsibility to go pick my grandpa up and make him come to school. Frank has that sort of heart with everyone he meets and would give the shirt off his back to someone in need. This is why I feel Frank Morse, a well-deserving 92-year-old man, is my Vermilion County hero.
Mr. Morris. Yes. Congratulations, sir. We'll come to you. You get special VIP treatment today. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Your career in the military, when you were a young man, and then you came back and you decided that you were going to help teach children and a lifetime of service. What did being an educator mean to you?
Well, that was my life work. And children were my life work.
The testimony that was given today was fabulous, and you are a true hero. And thank you very much for what you've done for the kids, and thank you very much for what you've done for our country. Mr. Lawrence,
Hi, I'm Wendy Wilder.
And I'm Kathy Darding, and we can't think of anyone more fitting for senior hero than Don Richter. He has more than shown extraordinary commitment to our county community. A lifelong resident of Oakwood, Don has been the county's reigning historian for years. He not only enjoys history, but he preserves it in a way that anyone can understand.
Don has spent the past 25 years as president of the Vermilion County Museum Society, preserving, documenting, and housing county history in order to educate people about their rich heritage. He believes that learning about the many extraordinary accomplishments of past local residents will give people hope for the future of the county and encourage them in their own endeavors. The Vermilion County Museum is a shining jewel in an economically depressed area. Don has sacrificed a lot of time and physical labor to make sure the museum buildings and properties are well maintained. He was the driving force behind the building of the new Museum Visitor Center in 2002. The new building has allowed for the expansion of exhibit area and has provided a larger place for special events. Don's sense of local history gave him the idea to design the new museum building to look like the original courthouse that once stood in Danville. One of the most important aspects of the Vermilion County Museum is providing the local history curriculum for all of the third grade students in Danville District 118. Each year, these students are provided with information about the natural history of the area, the beginnings of the county, and the accomplishments of the early residents. This would not be possible without Don's work in managing the finances and endowment fund from which the museum operates. Most recently, Don has been spearheading the effort to preserve a local pioneer cemetery. He was informed of a long-neglected cemetery near the Salt Kettle Rest area. When he researched the individuals buried there, he discovered one man who had ties to Francis Scott Key, author of the Star-Spangled Banner. Don has had to coordinate efforts to restore the cemetery with the state of Illinois, a daunting task. He has spent a lot of time, money, and effort to get the cemetery cleaned up. He has overseen the making of new gravestones, the repairing of old ones, marking of the paths, and production of signage. The cemetery restoration is scheduled to be completed this year.
Among Don's accomplishments are president of the Vermilion County Museum Society for 25 years and a member of the board for over 34 years, author of 3 books, Lincoln, 20 Years on the Eastern Prairie, Here Stands the Law, Vermilion County and the Civil War, a bi-monthly column in the Commercial News with an historical perspective, co-editor, along with his wife Sue, of the museum's quarterly magazine, The Heritage, where he wrote an award-winning account of the county men serving in World War II, visionary behind the construction of the new building of the museum complex and restoration of the Fithian home, board member of the Oakwood Cemetery, financial contributor to many, many organizations and events in the county, husband to Sue, father to Beth, and grandfather to Isaac and Eleanor. Therefore, we feel Don is indeed a hero for his commitment to our county's past, present, and future. He is very deserving of this honor.
Your love of history, where did it start?
I've had it all my life. Teacher in school got me started years ago, and I just kept it up.
And I realized how important history is to everyone, because everything's based on what went before. And if we can teach our young people how people sacrificed in the past and researched and did things to make the future better, we can inspire them to do better.
I know one of the things that you and Sue and the board have been so proud of is that connection to the schools.
Right. And it's very important to have the young people realize, the opportunity that's out there and give them people to look up to, somebody they can get a hold of and see they can do better if they work at it. And education is very, very important in that. And I'd also like to say I didn't do all those things by myself. A lot of people here helped me on that.
Okay, you and Sue are you're as good as it gets in local history.
Yeah.
What's your favorite story?
I'd say World War II is my favorite time. The guys that served in World War II, like this gentleman here, it was a war that had to be fought, no question about it, and people gave all, some gave all gave some, and some gave all. So it was a really special generation, and that was my favorite story, I guess.
Well, thank you for being our senior hero today.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate it.